And I'm going to hurry with my remarks because there's a little, like yesterday, I took my time, and when I came out looking for my car to transport me, Sister Veazey was in it. She'd actually pulled the car open, and then the driver looked at me. I'm standing on the sidewalk. I'm not going to say anything. Driver looks at me like, what do you want me to do? This lady has jumped in the car. It's yours. And I said, I'm not going to say anything to her. This woman is a very distinguished leader in our community. You take your chances. So I think he took the chance. And told her that she didn't think this was her car, and I insisted that she take it, but she wouldn't. So I don't know if she'll be so kind today. So I'm going to hurry through these remarks and try and beat her to my car. She was awaiting hers, which was looked alike, I suppose. Let me thank Chairman Peoples for putting us together and putting us on the road to the struggle for economic justice and economic inclusivity. Of course, we are privileged to have such a great leader and President Shanice, and she has, I believe, been perhaps the best president that I've known of. I've come to the caucus, as you've heard, all of my adult life working in politics, in Detroit politics, and so I've seen it grow. And Don, I think you mentioned some things and others that 27, 30 years ago we did not see, and we're seeing now. So that's certainly progress, and the growth continues. I know some of you might be saying that, why you all have the judge speaking at an economic summit? His thing is an inspiration to young people and the poor folks who are trying to overcome their obstacles like he did. That's his redeeming value. Other than that, he doesn't do anything but get on the television and talk a little stuff and give a little justice and a little law in between. Every now and then we squeak some law in there. But no, these are small claim cases. No one's losing their homes. No one's going out of business. They're cases that we'd rather folks bring to us so that they don't cut each other in their local community. Folks say, well, why do you take those $1,000 cases and they come in there fighting? I said, I'd rather them fight in my courtroom for the $1,000 than to fight with deadly weapons, as we see in many cases in our communities. And so that's really what most folks think I do. But when I take off that robe, I become a fierce freedom fighter. And although the things I say are funny and jestful, that's not what we live through, and that's not the reality in our community. And even though some might think this is my lane, isn't my lane, a little known fact is it is indeed my lane. As director in the early 90s of business and trade at Rainbow Push, I helped businessmen obtain finances and franchises in several business sectors. I was the coordinator of the first Wall Street project and the LaSalle Street project, two projects that are now in their 20th year that have assisted business persons with getting access to capital. And we have it right here in the financial center of the world. We've had our receptions at the Wall Street. We've had, prior to the destruction of the World Trade Center, we'd have it there. And it has been very beneficial. We've facilitated joint ventures between Fortune 500 companies, and those are minority business enterprises who are seeking to expand their markets but need a little help. And we've also been responsible for the success of Emmett Vaughn, who is here with us. We're going to take all the credit. Emmett worked with us from the beginning as well. Indeed, he worked to put together the first Wall Street project that we had in the early 90s. And so Emmett and I have a long history of working together, and I was certainly pleased when he joined the board with us. Also, one of the success stories, or two, that we have, at least coming out of Chicago, we've had many around the nation, but two brothers in Chicago who have made us proud because we focused on a lot of their work. They were right there with us. And that is John Rogers, who has one of the largest funds of any African American, if not the largest management firm, and Jim Reynolds, who does finance and I think private equity as well. And so we're very proud of those two gentlemen who have achieved great success since coming to us with wrinkled suits right out of college. And you tell Jim I said that. And so that is my lane. That's what I've worked on for many years. And I want now for us to take a look at what we're seeing in this upcoming economy and economic environment. As we know, if we look at the progress we've just made under the current administration, the economic policies that they've advanced and have achieved, we'll find that the recovery that began 1 year after President Obama came to office is steadily creating jobs and is now beginning to increase wages, though employment in our communities remain challenged. Under the Obama administration, we've added more than 15 million jobs, cut unemployment in half, and saved nearly 1 million jobs by rescuing the auto industry. Unfortunately, once again, that economic recovery has not touched people equally, particularly in our community. But we can still continue to fight. We must focus on those being left behind in this recovery, and those that no doubt serve many of your customers. So I'm sure you want their success financially and economically so that your corporations can benefit economically. One of the pitches we've always had at Rainbow Push and at the NAACP, where I served as a national board member for some years, is that you want diversity not just for the sake of doing the right thing. You want diversity to increase your business. When Latino community shows loyalty to you because you've demonstrated loyalty to them, they buy more of your products. Certainly African Americans. That's what Operation Breadbasket did, the offshoot of the SCLC that Dr. King had Reverend Jackson to start in Chicago. That was the entire philosophy and the model. It was to go in to the major corporations there in Chicago and then beyond to allow them the opportunity to negotiate better circumstances and better employment and supply opportunities for corporations to come together with those who were purchasing their products. And in many instances, the well-known tactic of boycotting was initiated because the education negotiation did not work, so it became confrontation. So in many instances, we can avoid all that up front now, with the corporations just recognizing that they will benefit, and you all will benefit. You who represent corporations, you who represent your own business, you'll benefit when the unemployment rate is cut even more. And so that economic recovery, we must make sure continues to serve our people so that they can serve your customers. And we must support our legislators at the Congressional Black Caucus. You know, they need more help financially than most of the elected officials throughout the country. And we need to offer them that financial help to buttress them, offer them other in-kind services. I've had the pleasure of helping most of the urban districts around the country come in to speak and do radio ads for them. Sister Richardson, our congressperson from California, retired congressperson, she was here. I was able to help her with radio ads, and several of our other congressional members. Brenda Lawrence, our newly elected congressional member and board member of the foundation. I was able to take part in the leadership of her campaign and did ads and held fundraisers at my home in Detroit. So that's the type of support we have to buttress them with. And the way we help them is letting people know it's no secret. A lot of times we think it's just us and just our vote they need. No, they need you to take souls to the polls. When you go to church on Sunday, find out who needs that ride. Encourage others to come to church. Call your friends. Do your mailings of your personal list to those within that congressional district if you don't have the financial ability. But we must equip them the best we can because we need them to continue to fight for us. Now we need them to fight for infrastructure and job bill. Now we need them to fight to help students at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation who benefit from us and who benefit from the lower student loans that we are trying to fight for and the increased financial aid for our young people, which is one of the primary efforts that we as an organization pursue. And most importantly, we want them to advocate for policies that increase access to capital for all minority business enterprises, that help us form joint ventures with major corporations and finance some of the tech startups that we are endeavoring to launch, which is one of the fastest growing industries, and the expansion of business opportunity for all of us, but particularly black women, whom we are focusing our efforts on today. And the reason we're focusing our efforts on them today because they like to work. They don't mind getting their hands dirty. Men walk around puffed up, nice suits, nice hookup, corner office, and the women help build that business while they're out playing golf. So we need to help you all more than we need to help some of these brothers who have you doing all the work. So we thank God for this conference, and we thank God that we have congresspeople who are fighting for access and empowerment of black women's businesses. We can win this struggle for economic parity and economic justice just as we've won all of our previous struggles. Indeed, we've won everything we fought for, and we've lost every battle that we refused to fight. Won everything we fought for, lost every battle we refused to fight. So in reality, in the movement area, we're undefeated. Black folks are undefeated. Now, at this stage of an economic struggle, we know we can fight this and win this. We fought for emancipation and won. We fought for desegregation and won. We fought for Voting Rights Act and took over the world. Our representative, that is. And so it is that we know we can continue to fight and win. And in this current struggle, we must keep our faith because there's a new administration who might not have the same focus. But the good news is if the new administration keeps its word, then all boats at the bottom will be lifted because his word to his constituency was to bring them out of poverty. His attention was given to working class and poor whites. So you can't help working class and poor whites without helping the folks who are disproportionately affected by income, and that is African Americans. Proportionately, we are the highest number of unemployed. Proportionately, we are the highest number of unskilled working class workers. So indeed, when they're helped, we'll get the help. That's if he keeps his word. So that's our focus. Keep your word with the, not even with us, not even with the folks who ran against you, because they'll never keep their word with the folks who ran against them or who talked against them or voted against them. Keep your word with your base. That's all we ask. Be true to yourself. Now, if you're conning them, let them figure it out. But in the meantime, we must pressure this upcoming administration, and we can win this. And so let us keep our faith in the midst of all the challenges for access to capital. Let us help to create international corporations and enterprises, not just the small mom and pop businesses. I mean, we need them. And some suggest, however, on the pessimistic side, that we need to stay in those mom and pop businesses because that's what serves our community. And yes, we need them in our community to empower our community and to empower themselves. We need those small businesses, and we should have them, but don't allow yourselves to be relegated to the margins of business enterprise. Mom and pop business at the most grosses $1 million a year. $2 million if they're lucky, whereby an international enterprise or even a national enterprise with proper financing can gross up to $1 billion. And so we know what to do if we have the access to capital. And if we look beyond the neighborhood that we're trying to be relegated to. There's always been this mindset, and not always by us, guided by someone else, that you need to develop just the black community, control your own community and control your own resources. And that's what they look at the Arab. But the Arab corporation, that's what they do. The little Arab store, he runs the store in your community. The Vietnamese, you see what they do, and everybody makes money, and they have mom and pop businesses. Don't relegate yourselves to that. We want more than that. Don't just give us something that you have determined that you no longer want to access and provide services for, and allow immigrants who you also refuse to finance. Don't relegate us to that type of business. You don't go out here, some of us, well, this system is not our system. That's what I hear on the street. Well, this system is our system. It's more our system than anybody else's. It's our ancestors that worked 300 years to make this the richest country in the world. And we sound like fools talking about just give me the corner or just give me 5 states in the South to develop. You know, that was the nationalist creed, and I was a neo-nationalist in my younger days, but I found out through working in national politics that the goal was not to get 5 states. Hell, we should want it all. We built all of them. And so we want all of business enterprise through overboard. We want general population business. Don't segment us to minority business. Yes, refer to us as minority business enterprises because that's who we are. We're not part of the larger community. We are African Americans, one of the smallest members of Americans, United States, or America itself, because all the states aren't united, particularly after Tuesday. Nonetheless, as I leave you, let me just say that this country is our country. Don't let anybody relegate us to mom and pop stores so they keep the big money. Don't let them give the big money out of the country, repatriate back if we can convince them to. If not, it's going to stay there. We're going to get more free labor or close to free, because the money they're paying overseas is close to free. And that's one of the reasons we've had so much controversy over NAFTA and the other treaties that were signed, because it took jobs from our communities, the inner cities, the unskilled manufacturing jobs overseas to pay people $2 an hour. Well, they were being paid $25 an hour with health care and retirement and pension. So let's not allow them to continue to run that. We must continue to fight, And now it's time for that economic movement, Brother Peoples, and we thank God for your leadership in this area, that's going to allow us to take over those financial institutions, just as we took over the political institutions in America. And once again, as we did in 2008, we want to get our share. We want to get our share, and indeed, perhaps, as we also did in 2008, win it all and oversee it all. Thank you all for listening. God bless you.